What was your experience like visiting some of these worst affected places where the Hamas carnage actually took place? Kibbutz Be'eri, you went there. You went to the Noah music festival site where almost 260 civilians were killed. Many of them were abducted. What was it like in these places? Did you get a sense of the amount of devastation, destruction, and the killing that took place there? Did you get a sense of that when you visited these sites?
The smell of rotting bodies was still there. That stench, I know it's a very heartless word, but those bodies were still there. On the 9th, when we were reporting from Ashkelon, 10th, when we were reporting from Sderot, I saw that car in which there were two bodies hugging. That car had bullet marks in it. The car had been set on fire, and there were two people or two bodies just clinging onto each other, and they were both dead. I've seen that myself, and as have thousands of journalists who were there. We've seen bodies of Hamas terrorists lying on the road, who'd been killed in the counterattack. I've spoken to the first responders at the Reem Music Festival, for example. There were tents that had been shot through and through. There were toilets that had been shot through and through. I interacted with the police officer who was the first responder. I interacted with the army officer who rushed there to rescue people. And, Israel is very firm. Israel's a small country. In a small country where 1,400 people have been massacred, 200 plus have been taken hostage, 3,000 plus have been injured, they are resolute that they will ensure this never happens again. And I was very surprised. I've reported from Israel earlier. I was very surprised that Hamas was able to do what it did, because I've seen the fence. You've been told about the CCTV cameras that are there, the listening posts, the sensors, the underground sensors, the no man's land, and yet all of that was breached. So, when you cover counter-terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, you know that while there are sensors there and cameras there, every obstacle is manned. There's no point having an obstacle if it's not manned, because the man behind the gun is very important. The moment you see a threat, you neutralize the threat. It has to be like that. Israel perhaps relied a little more on either artificial intelligence or technology, and it's not just Hamas terrorists. Whoever was handling the Hamas terrorists was able to find every chink in Israel's armor to be able to strike in the manner in which they did. But while we've suffered 26/11. I've also covered 26/11 from Mumbai. And again, reached there the first thing, took the first flight from Delhi to Mumbai after 26/11, and reported 3 days from the Taj Hotel, from the Shabad House, from all the other locations, including Nariman Point. 10 terrorists from Pakistan did this to us, and 166 died over 3 days. 10 terrorists came from Pakistan. Here, over 1,000 terrorists came.
Imagine that.
1,000 terrorists armed to the teeth. They did not have to go back for replenishment. They had planned it to the T, that they had vehicles that came with ammunition. So the moment Hamas exhausted their ammunition, they would reload immediately and start firing immediately. So they had their logistics planned. They had empty vehicles that had come to take in, hostages. So all of this was planned to perfection. Now Israel's response is being planned to perfection, and so that they don't respond in haste or send in their troops in haste and have more ground casualties, because the images that have come out today, the Americans had already warned Israel that, the Azerbaijan-Armenia war, Armenia had a lot of tanks. Azerbaijan, with its disruptive technology, drones that drop bombs on tanks, the way, Ukraine was also destroying the Russian tanks. You have the best T-90s, but Ukraine was able to use drones to decimate those T-90 tanks. Similarly, Hamas now has tanks that can target the Merkavas of Israel. So that is why Israel will not commit tanks and armored personnel carriers deep into the Hamas territory on Gaza Strip right now. They will carry out a lot of raids, eliminate a lot of leadership, and then go in there to change their regime. That they're very clear. Hamas will not exist. Will they be able to do it? They've tried twice before. They haven't succeeded. This time they say we intend to succeed, because for Israel, failure is not an option.